Okay, welcome back, everyone. Today it's more Vintage Cube. This is still single elimination. I'm still practicing to, enhance my own chance to get to Las Vegas and draft the live cube. This past weekend, I managed to get 2 more tokens, so I have 2 more 64s coming up this week. If I'm really, if I really decide, I'll record those, but I'm not sure. I play so poorly on camera. Here it's basically Caracas versus something like, I don't know, Brain Freeze. I think I'll pick Caracas here. Caracas is a card that protects a ton of stuff and bounces a lot of stuff on the opponent's side of the table, so pretty nice. If I play white, that's great. If I don't play white, it is what it is. I'll probably still run it in my mana base. Okay, next pack here, it's basically Fetchline versus Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I think I'm supposed to take Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It is enough better, I think. Pretty cool pack here. 2 duels, 2 fetches, probe. So it's like 5 great cards. And then we have, Flame Slash and 6. And then some cards below that. But I'll follow my Caracas pick up with Fable. Fable goes in a ton of decks, basically any deck with red mana. So you'll play it in red aggressive deck, you'll play it in red black reanimator. You'll play this just about anywhere. Speaking about red black reanimator, this looks like a nice time to pick up Entomb. Entomb is the reanimator card I first starting with. You can also argue that a card like Reanimate itself is great because it's going to make your deck regardless. But this is the best card in your deck, so that's why I really enjoy getting it early. Let's say that card wasn't in the pack, then I would have to get a little bit funky with my pick, so I'm happy I didn't have to choose between, Generous Plunderer and Blood Tithe Harvester. I add Entomb to the mix, and then I can follow it up with a Vampiric Tutor here. So, if this is basically the logic. It's like having a Flash or a Tinker or an Ancestral Recall. Now I have 2 copies of my, hopefully what's going to be the best card of my deck. The difference here is I don't know if I'm ever going to see Reanimation. I don't know if I'm ever going to see a quality Fatty, this and that. But Vampiric Tutor is definitely great here, so we can add that to the deck. All right, what do we have here? Red Fetch, probably? There's also Undercity Sewers, but at this point I don't even know if I'm blue, so I know I'm red. I have a Fable, so this Red Fetch is going to be great. So ideally, we draft, red-black, Reanimator, and beat everyone. This is, perfect pick. Nothing exciting there. Okay, so now I actually have a choice here. Now I can choose between Faithless Looting and the Raucous Theater. So Faithless Looting is saying I want to make my Reanimator deck as good as possible. The Theater says, okay, I'll make my any version of red-black deck as good as possible. So I'm not too worried about other people picking up Faithless Looting, actually. So I'm actually go for the land here that's going to make my red-black deck every time. Ooh, now we could be in trouble here. So while I'm probably just going to take Restless Vents and see if where this takes me, I am definitely a bit worried when I see this pack. Because there's nothing else for me, right? So, I mean, you can argue if I'm an aggressive deck, the Legionnaire is a pick, but let's take the Restless Vents and see what's going on here. Okay, so here we have a decent mid-range card. It's not quite, one of the premier ones, but it's fine. Like, let's say I have a little bit of, Thoughtseize, Hymn, Fatal Push going on, then this card is decent. I'll take the Preacher here. So here we have kind of a similar situation. If I'm more in the fair version, on Earth is a decent card. I play a Preacher, you kill it with, I don't know, Dismember, I unearth it. Like, that's good. Best card in this pack is probably Council's Judgment. Okay, this is great. Wow, even Wheeling Underground Sea, that's pretty amazing, actually. So which card is better, Bloodchief's Thirst or Deep Cavern Bats? I think I'm going to go for the Bat. I like Hand Disruption a lot, and who knows, the 1/1 body might be relevant. It's pretty insane, actually. Gitaxian Probe is still in here. Underground Sea, yeah, great pack. This pack doesn't do a whole lot. I think I'll just take Chromatic Star. There's some world where I get, like, I don't know, a blue piece of power or something, and then then Chromatic Star is actually a card in the deck. The Fairy, far and away the best card, but I'm going to speculate a little bit on green fixing. This pack is irrelevant. I'll just take the white card. Faithless Looting came all the way back around. Okay, that's super sick because Nobody speculated on the looting. Of course, there could be a blue-black Reanimator deck. Okay, I was getting too excited there. There can still be a blue-black Reanimator deck at the table. So yeah, I mean, this will most likely end up with some, red-black mid-range deck with a little bit of Reanimator package. I will highly prioritize any reanimation I see. Okay, pretty clear Thoughtseize here. I just wanted to make sure that Imperial Seal wasn't the pick. Let's say there's a world where I have Entomb, Archon, Gristlebrand, I don't have the Vampiric Tutor or something along those lines. Then you could take the Imperial Seal over Thoughtseize, then the context would make it a better pick, but Thoughtseize, pretty darn awesome. You can even do a poor man's Entomb if you have a big creature in hand. But I mean, right now the big creature stuff is just pure speculation because I haven't seen anything. So, this pack is not very good for me. I feel like this is between Mox Diamond and Umasau's Jite. Fable is good with Mox Diamond. Preacher is good with Mox Diamond. Yeah, I'd probably take Fable. I'd probably take Mox Diamond here. The other pick is Plateau. That would enable, let's see which cards are actually worth splashing. For Theolingas, Swords to Plowshares, maybe Path to Exile, maybe Vindicate. But Mox Diamond also helps with that in theory. So, okay. Here's Atraxa. I have to take this Atraxa. Now I have Entomb Atraxa in my deck, and any reanimation will, at least give me an unfair angle. So, very strong pickup. I'm taking it over something like Fire Covenant, which is awesome. There is a chance that red-black is not drafted at all. Nobody has the fixing to splash it, and it will come back. There is that chance. So you're saying there's a chance. And here's Reanimate. Oof. Okay, perfect. So we got paid off here by, let's see, how did I start this draft? I started this draft Caracas, then I took Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, then I jumped on Entomb. Then I took Vampiric Tutor to kind of power that plan ahead of schedule. Yeah, okay. So I guess we kind of earned it. Yeah, this pack is just, like, we have a decent removal here. It's like a cut down tier of removal. Galvanic Discharge over not much, if anything. That's fine. I really enjoy when the one drop column is gonna get maxed out. That's usually a good sign. So this is a bad pack. Really bad pack, because this aggro creature doesn't do a whole lot. Hogak, is that a card? I need 2 creatures in play, 5 cards in the yard to even cast Hogak. I'm playing a single Elim. Am I supposed to hate draft Containment Priest? I mean, this pack is incredibly bad. Maybe I'd take the District, because there's some world where I open, Minsk and Boo or something. Okay, let's try that. I'll put it in this pile. Then I'll remember, I think. Okay, that was a bit too early for my taste to brick. I mean, it's fine if I, picking up a unexciting card, but it was too early to brick. Let's see if we can keep this going. Somebody did pick up the Blood Tithe Harvester, the previous pack, I just remembered. That's interesting. I hope it was just, random. Ooh, there's another bad pack. So, Soul Guide Lantern is a cantrip that randomly hoses reanimation and takes that card out of the draft. I think it's better than City of Traders. Okay. This is scary if I can't, pick a good card. So here I can take Grave Titan, sometimes hardcastable, great to reanimate, or Call Against Command. I actually missed that one. I'm actually going to pick Call Against Command. I think that card is just a better, better Magic card as a whole. I think Grave Titan is interesting. It's kind of like the Abomination card. You can pick Bone Shards here. What Abomination? The Crab Abomination. Where it's like, it's decent to hardcast, decent to reanimate, I really hate this removal spell. I think it's so bad. Let's take this card. I mean, this is kind of the same. As a top end, fine. As reanimation, fine. It's like Grave Titan tier. Here I can take Path to Exile, I guess. Not too excited about it. Also, excuse the background sound if you can hear it. There are definitely some guys working hard. Concealed Courtyard maybe just enables Path to Exile straight up. Let's see, 1 white, 2 white, Arid Mesa doesn't connect yet, so we will need a some kind of Mardu duel. This pack doesn't do a whole lot. Green white doesn't do anything. Scholar most likely not going to do anything. Okay, so second pack wasn't... I mean, I got a Trax and Reanimate, so I can't complain, but it wasn't that great. Okay, looking at the next pack here. So there's another green land, but I don't think that makes much sense. Am I supposed to take Sneak Attack, try and wield the Eldrazi? I think that's the case, because Atraxa works with both Sneak and Reanimation, so I kind of want some redundancy and some consistency in doing, broken things. I'm taking it over something like Fabled Passage. The Augur is not that great in a deck with full of fatties, so... What do we have here? We have some good Magic cards, but I think I will narrow it down to World Spineworm and Bitter Triumph. World Spineworm works with exactly Sneak Attack. Bitter Triumph is just a good card, period. Can get rid of the Atraxa in case that's what I need. There's also just Godless Shrine, which enables Path. So maybe I'm just going to do that. Okay, I can take Godless Shrine here. Wow. Ooh. Demonic Tutor is so good. Gristlebrand is so good. Of course, the Plowshares is not even in the conversation, which tells the whole story about this pack. Demonic Tutor. Yeah, I think I have to take Demonic Tutor. The thing is, Demonic Tutor is my, second Entomb, second Reanimate, second Atraxa, second Sneak Attack, depending on the situation. And Gristlebrand is just, my second Atraxa, so to speak. So with that logic, I take Demonic Tutor. Wow, great pick. Mind Twist. Is this a good Mind Twist deck? Or am I just supposed to take Bauble and move on with my life? There's also the Archfiend. Let's see. The Archfiend works with Looting turn 4, Thoughtseize turn 4, Bone Shards turn 4, Fable turn 4. Interesting. Mind Twist. Mind Twist is really not what it used to be. I think I'm gonna take this Archfiend. Like that pick isn't perfect or anything either, but I think it's okay. Oracle is gone, so Doomsday is not a factor. Breach doesn't look like it does anything in my deck. There's Generous Ent. I have one forest in my sideboard. I mean, Generous Ent might make the deck. The other cards really won't. Not the best. Okay, so here's Lelia versus Taiga. Taiga enables the Generous Ent, but I only have one reanimation for it, so I'm going to go Lelia here. Lelia can run away with games sometimes. Here's Toxic Deluge versus Torsten, basically. I guess the slice is worth mentioning. Torsten is good to reanimate. It's good with Sneak. Toxic can destroy certain decks. I'm actually going to go Toxic here. That was kind of a tough one. This pack is a brick for me. I'm not splashing green. Yeah, this pack is a brick. I'm wheeling Fabled Passage here, so let's quickly have a look at our playables. If I stop right now, I'm adding 12 lands. Okay, so my mana base can actually use a little bit of help here. That wouldn't be bad. Maybe I just take that. Corpse Dance is good with Atraxa. I have some bad green fixing for Grist. Maybe Corpse Dance is better. And then I wield the Gristlebrand. That is insane. I forgot about... Well, I didn't forget about it, but I discounted it, so to speak. I didn't believe it. Wow, sick. I wield the Gristlebrand, but I didn't wield the Eldrazi. Something weird is going on here. So right now I have 7, 9, yeah. Right now I just have a deck I'm ready to submit, and I'm not embarrassed to register any of these cards. All of these cards kind of either help the plan, are individually strong, or, like Toxic Deluge just crushes the opponent. And here's even a free Backstreet. So the cool thing about white here is white not only cast the Path to Exile, but these I shouldn't have said white. My mana base, the Surveil is actually potentially helpful in this deck. You have 3-4 cards that are you wouldn't mind milling over. The Doomsday is not getting drafted, so I'm just gonna hate pick the Kaito, the most likely to make my opponent's deck. These cards don't matter. I don't know. Actually, don't know what the Risen Reef is doing in here. Gush is at least, a card that's good with Doomsday, good with Chromho Seed Shark, Iconoclast, those type of. Okay, I mean, 3 mana deal 4 is not bad, but I think it's worse than everything else I've got going on here. Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I also have an enemy dead in this deck, but other than that, I'm pretty excited. Main decking the Graveyard Hate versus main decking the Chromatic Star is some kind of judgment call that I'm not sure of. You can also just play the Ghostfire Slice. That's probably just going to be better. Then I play 16 lands and a diamond in a relatively low curve deck. So we're not going to add any white, that's for sure. So let's just count the red. 1, 2, 3, 4. So red does need some help. 5, I guess. So let's see if we can add 4 of those. I don't know yet. Let's count black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So maybe I want to get to 10. What if I had to play 10-9 in this deck? I think 10-9 should work. So I go, yeah, well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I play 10-9 like this. I think this looks quite awesome. Let's quickly try and analyze here. So enablers, we have natural drawing these, then Bone Shards become an enabler, then Faithless Looting becomes an enabler, then Fable is an enabler. I guess Call Against Command technically, and Thoughtseize technically. And then we can cheat stuff into play with Corpse Dance, with Reanimate. Not really on Earth, it's like for the small guys. And I have Vampiric and Demonic on top of that. So, yeah, I mean, this looks like a sweet deck. I imagine I can get run over, but the Toxic Deluge really helps. A couple of cheap removal spells. Okay, I have high hopes for this one. Let's see if it can, live up to the hype. See you guys for the games. Okay, let's get into things here. Round 1, I'm playing Red-Black Reanimator, and this hand cannot play Magic, so we hit the mulligan button. This hand is a bit better. I need a discard outlet before I die. So we can get rid of the Archfiend, probably. Then I can go for White-Black Surveil. Play turn 2 Bat to buy some time. And hopefully get there. Fetch. Backstreet. Find Atraxa? Nah, that's too lucky. Don't want the swamp. Lelius looks good here. So we actually have a, normal plan here. Let's see. My opponent has Channel Emrakul in hand. That is insane. Wow. So it looks like I have to take, well, I need to look at my deck list here. If Eureka Emrakul actually beats me, I don't have any answers for the Emrakul, I believe. I will then need to, I guess, Archfiend is. So if I draw 14 off of that, can I produce an Archfiend? I just put I put that to the bottom, but I shuffled. Okay, so it's in the deck. Interesting. So I have Archfiend to deal with, resolve Emrakul, I was about to say. But I still feel like I should take the Emrakul. Yeah, let's take the Emrakul. Interesting. Ooh, Channel Emrakul, that's spicy. I can always win the game. It also explains where my Ulamog went. Somebody was, channeling an Oathing and stuff like that. So Sylvan Safekeeper, why would you run that card? Trying to think of good reasons. Maybe something like Titania, having Titania in the deck? I'm just going to assume it's for good reasons and not for, yeah, I needed to fill out my deck with either land number 19 or 1-1. The opponent shuffles, spikes a Shelldog Isle, which is scary out of the Emrakul deck, but not anything I can worry. Like, well, I can worry about it, but I can't do anything about it. So here's Path to Exile. That's not bad. So let's just update our opponent's hand. No more Ponder. Against command is a card that I would happily have used to discard my own Gristlebrand, but not this time, I guess. So Lele is a card that thankfully kills my opponent, so I don't have to worry too much about reducing my own deck size. But Shelldog Isle being checking any player's library, I mean, it's not nothing. So the theory is if I get to attack with Lele at 4 or 5 times, I'm hopefully winning the game. Opponent plays Forest out to play that out. So they're hanging on to the tap land. Okay. Dracosaur. Dracosaur is not a good draw. Let's attack here. If we can spike something cool off the top. There's the Emrakul answer, so I guess not. Opponent takes 5. Don't have any plays. I have to pass. There's probably some decision to be made at some point about pathing the Safekeeper, but I'm not going to do that until the Lelia is actually lethal because, yeah, ramming my opponent is just not exciting. So here, the opponent has mana for the Eureka, but nothing to do with it, which is, I don't know, probably a good thing for me. Yeah, let's take the turn. Swamp. Most likely not a very good draw. Let's see if that changes with the Lelia. Yeah, okay. So now I have 5 mana next turn. But that's right around the time that I hope this game is going to be over. Okay, here's the Chum block. So now I think I should reanimate the Safekeeper to, you know, ensure that my bat stays around. Or at least to try and, you know, improve those odds. Let's see if this works, or this is terrible. That card hits the battlefield. I don't have lethal. That's worth noting. I don't have lethal next turn. I have 8 damage. But I play a deck with some burn spells in it, so who knows. 25 cards in deck. 26 in my opponent's deck. Safekeeper gone. Emrakul gone. Channeling Eureka there. Also, now my opponent has the Talon, which will maybe do nothing because I have the Safekeeper. So let's say I actually get to my next main phase and I don't draw anything of relevance. I'll just jam this because I might have to sacrifice on my main phase. If my opponent's smart about it, they face out the Lelia. If that's their play, then they face out the Lelia on, you know, upkeep or whatever before I get my main phase. Because my way to protect it is something about sacrificing lands, and they can potentially cut me from casting spells. If my opponent plays a good creature, I can path it end of turn. If my opponent goes Eureka, I have some stuff to put into play. I'm protecting the bat right now, which is quite awesome. So let's say my opponent had a random fatal push or something. I can stop that from happening with the Safekeeper. Good old Olerode. Hall of Famer pictured on this card. I love the like the history of the cards. Okay, Baleful Strix is an annoying one because I don't really want to path it, but maybe that's what has to be done. Opponent plays one more land, getting ready to cycle, it looks like. I'll actually path end of turn here. Path the Strix. My opponent ramps, gets down to 24 cards. Okay, my opponent doesn't believe anymore. Fair enough. Yeah, so very, very clutch bat coming here because if I don't play that card, I will get Channel Emrakul and lose the game. Can we disrupt that in any more meaningful ways? I do have Tidehollow Sculler. I suspect I will be bringing in that card. Let's count my white sources. Well, if I add a planes, let me put it that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I need to add a planes here. I can cut a red, I feel like. So I go +1 planes, because that will make my Fabled Passage, and I guess, well, Arid Mesa was white to begin with, but it'll make my my Passage into a white source, and then I could cut something like Bone Horde against that deck, because that's kind of like not big and chunky, you know? It's like medium. Like, hard casting it is going to be late, reanimating it's going to be, you know, not super impactful. I do have a card like Unearth that doesn't look very impressive either. Yeah, Unearth really doesn't look great. We're now not playing like an attrition matchup. But Unearth is a 2-mana cycle. So is Soul Guide, so that's not better. Chromatic Star is like a 1-mana cycle that even helps me cast my cards. Okay, so maybe I don't even have to add the planes if I do like this, because this was also a white source, but it's also a red source, so maybe that's fine. Because turn 2 Scholar is actually something I want to prioritize. Okay, I'll submit here. Looks like our opponent's deck is a bit more glass cannon-y than mine. So, okay, we have a cool hand here. I was about to say, so that's like an advantage for me, right? If I can pick apart my opponent and, you know, slow and steady wins the race. Cards like Lelia, probably my best card in the deck, like Fable, to, you know, win those kind of games. Here I can go, yeah, I guess just turn 1 Godless Shrine, because I have to fetch basic Mountain with this one later. So if I do that now, then I can't go turn 2 Scholar. I'm trying to think here. If I don't draw any more lands, I want to go turn 1. Yeah, I want to disrupt, basically. Okay. Because I was about to say, maybe it's correct to get the Mountain out of there, then go Godless Shrine, Bats, then go Fable, but I actually think I'm going to disrupt in like 95% of the time or something, so this is just fine. So that means I want to get the 2-power creature into play now, and then next turn I can develop the quote-unquote tap land. So let's Scholar our opponent here, see if we can look at a similar hand as last time. Okay, opponent has some stuff going on here. So I have removal for Leovold, and my opponent can't cast Leovold. Maybe a card like Green Sun Zenith. Maybe my opponent finds some mana creature, I kill the mana creature. Am I just supposed to take the Emrakul because that card beats me if my opponent finds Channel? Or am I supposed to say this game is probably about playing normal Magic the Gathering? I think I'm going to let my opponent... And my opponent plays Baleful Strix. That draws a card. Interesting. I'm going to take Baleful Strix here. Kind of an interesting game where I have to choose between winning the, you know, prioritizing the fair game or prioritizing just shutting down the opponent's combo and taking it from there, basically. So now my opponent can play Zenith. My hope is that I can just, you know, kill the mana creature and move on. Actually, my mana is a bit wonky for that. But Bone Charge can do the job. Let's see what the opponent drew here. Oh, this is just a Zenith, I bet. So if I draw an untapped red, I would be way better off. Here's Devoted Druid, a card that I can't allow to survive. I don't hit untapped red. So what I can do here is maybe Bone Shards, discard Faithless Looting, then play Swamp and play Bats. Yeah, I think this is good. So I have another look at my opponent's hand. Flash. Flash doesn't work with Emrakul, but it is scary. So Liberator is a card that actually kills the Scholar because the Scholar is an artifact. So I actually think I take that card and then I kind of say, your hand doesn't do anything, but if you connect, I'll get destroyed. Let's see. This holds up. So now if the opponent draws Channel, I'm in trouble. If the opponent draws something that connects with Flash, I'm in trouble. The opponent drew that card, so that means they have Leovold next turn. So that's obviously very good for me. Wow. Caracas might be good. Let's see. I think I have to develop Fable here, though. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Attack for 3. So I'm basically trying to say I don't want Channel to be part of this, so okay, here's Ponder. The opponent is looking for... So the thing is, Channel is not... While the opponent is tapped down to this, Channel is not a card. But connecting with the Flash, sure, is a card. So very, very interesting game here. The opponent did not shuffle, so I guess I'm screwed. Yeah, I've seen this before. So discard, charge, and Gristlebrand. Draw into bricks. Okay, I see. So the opponent passed here. What kind of card are we flashing in here, opponent? I feel like I should cast Faithless Looting. Okay, Corpse Dance is not bad. Flash. Flash. I don't think I can attack here. It's not Torsten. What if it's the Worm? I think I can only attack with Deep Cavern Bats. If my opponent actually finds the card Channel there, then what happens? Maybe it's just Eureka. And the opponent goes Eureka Emrakul. I don't know. I'm just going to attack with the flyer here. I just feel like I'm getting flashed. Okay, I'm not getting flashed. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, maybe I am, because it's end step, right? Very hard situation. I assume I'm getting either Primist or Worldspine Wormed here, but I don't know. That's how I played. Okay, Worldspine Worm it is. So the opponent would keep those and, bad cards. So Leovold and Emrakul is my opponent's hand. Here comes Leovold. Leovold is fine. So now I take 15. So let's see. I don't want to take 15 because then I can't draw with Gristlebrand. And I feel like I kind of have to win the game. So what if I block there? I take 13, then I can draw 7. I'm attacking for 10. Okay, let's try. I'm gonna bounce to Leovold before my turn, obviously, because I need to draw from Gristlebrand. The problem is I can't really remember if I can win the game this way, but I don't have much of a choice because of these guys. Let's return Leovold. The opponent draws a card. I think that's perfectly fine since the game is about to end. Okay. So what happens if I don't draw with Gristlebrand? If I simply attack for 7 and I attack for 10, I go to 16. 16 is enough to survive. My opponent's had 4. 4 is kind of an annoying life total. But I have something like the Ghostfire Slice in my deck. I didn't play a land yet, so if I hit that, I actually win. So is it better to... Yeah, it must be better to try and draw 7 now to hit it. There's also a world where I... Wait. Maybe I have found a line here, which is actually super sick. So I actually have a win here unless my opponent draws something crazy. If I go Corpse Dance my Gristlebrand, attack for the 10 I talked about, stay afloat here with life. Then I bounce it with Caracas before it gets exiled to Corpse Dance. Then the next turn I sneak it into play. However, I will need a second red for that to happen. Ah, so tight. So tight. So in that case, I think it's better to draw 7 cards and see if there's a Ghostfire Slice and a in a land. Wow. Crazy game. Crazy game. Here's Grizzlebrand. Here's draw 7. Here's not what I wanted. So now, if I go to 9, I stay back. Well, I attack my opponent to 7. There's even no untapped land here. That's actually crazy. So I can't even play this one. That's bad. Let's see. Attack for 7. I'm at 9. Then how much? Opponent's attacking for 15. I can block with 2, 3, 4. That's down to 11 damage. And then this one is basically preventing 2. So I'm exactly dead. I'm exactly dead now, and I can't develop anything. Okay. So, okay, I think... Okay, my only line now... Wow, this is so complicated. My only line now is put my opponent to 4, gain 7 more, draw 7 more, and try and hit the land and the slice. Oh my god. Oh yeah, this is crazy. Heal 10. Draw 7. This is so funny. And there's the slice. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a game. Yeah, that was absurd because this was kind of a puzzle, and I knew I was getting flashed, and I found the attack here with the bat, which ensured the win, but obviously I didn't see this coming. I kind of had to, the more foreseeing you can be, the better. And here it was more like, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't. I love that I thought about the sneak attack line, because if I just have a second red, I'll just go for that. Then I'll say, your one card on top of the deck has to be sneak attack Gristlebrand next turn. But here, drawing 14, looking for a 1-of there is good percentages, and that will happen the majority of the time. And if it does, I look like a genius. If it doesn't, we have our game 3. So yeah, very, very cool game here. I somehow, at some point in this calculation, missed the fact that I could draw 7 more from Gristlebrand, but I'm happy the needle dropped, and I was able to take down round 1. That means we're ready for the semifinals once the other quarterfinals have finished. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, semifinals time. Remember, this is single elimination, so this could be the last match. We never know. Yeah, I think this hand is fine. We can play turn 1 bat, and we can curve most stuff that we draw. So, I mean, I think this is okay. Having this Mox Diamond is like having a Gemstone Cavern in my opener. Full Clamp. Not a dangerous card, but can be later for sure. So let's go turn 1 bat. So the land wasn't the best draw, but let's see. Walking Ballista. It's probably a card I should take here, because that card is going to kill my bat regardless, so I might be able to get some hits in. The counter argument is maybe I want my opponent to use a card on the bat so I can reanimate it later. Is that true? So let's see. If I take Saheeli, I will incentivize my opponent to go land Walking Ballista. I then attack, my opponent kills it, and I reanimate it. Okay. So Funnily enough, I think because of the lifelink on the bat, my opponent is now incentivized to get it out of here. So the thing is, if I'm wrong about that, this could be bad, but let's see. Fable is a good draw, so now I have good stuff to do regardless. There's an argument that my opponent's Skull Clamp... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I made a mistake here. My opponent's Skull Clamp incentivizes the opponent to swap the Ballista for 2 cards instead of killing the bat and getting back the Saheeli, but maybe that's like a wash for me. Maybe that's okay. Okay, it looks like my opponent wants to get to show on the road here, which is also fine. So basically now I gave my opponent that choice, where if I take the Ballista, I don't give him that choice, but they have access to this card. Okay, the opponent just bricked on lands here, and I get the Fable going. Okay, I mean, not the most awesome finish to this game, but I actually think the decision with this bat was very interesting. Also, I don't think my opponent is just straight up losing here, but who knows? I think I just keep the deck here. I'm not in the sense of urgency when it comes to, disrupting a combo deck. My opponent's probably not playing that much out of the yard, so I'll just keep whatever I thought was a good idea in deck building. Like when you're trying to say, okay, white aggro was probably not drafted this draft. I'm gonna maybe face like a green ramp deck. I'm gonna face a control deck. I'm gonna face an artifact deck, stuff like that. It's like, on average, how do you configure your deck? Which is, in a pod, it's some kind of skill, right? Let's say I didn't see any reanimation, then I would be more likely to main deck the Soul Guide Lantern, because that means somebody else is in Reanimator. And small stuff like that. Usually you don't have that much agency with a deck like this, but you could. It's like, if you have a good card, a great deck in Toxic Deluge, but every white card, every green card wheeled, you can have, a Judgment Call and sideboard the Toxic Deluge. Maybe that's a bad example. I don't know. We're looking at a 5-laner here. Yeah, I don't think that's going to cut it. My deck has, tutors and stuff, so... Okay, so speaking of tutors, if I put away the Ghostfire Slice, I can turn one Demonic Tutor for Sneak Attack and try and craft a plan around that. I think that's okay. Bottom, and then have 3 mana. So I need to find another land within my, next 3 or 4 draw steps. I think that's reasonable, that I'll naturally find a land. I think with these decks, it's better to craft a, what do you call that? Glass Cannon game plan than try and be a Junt deck, basically. That's probably sums up my philosophy pretty well. With 7 cards, I'm also not shy to, go... if I had 7 cards, just go to cleanup turn 1. I wouldn't be shy about that either. I think trying to maximize potential, and like when you do that and when you try and hedge your bets, it's one of the biggest skills of Vintage Cube, like in the actual games, of just slow and steady win the race, or do I need to, do something broken? The cool thing about the Sneak Attack is if that resolves, I have more, good draws in my deck, and my opponent's color combo... No, maybe that's not true. That my opponent... I was about to say my opponent's color combo is less likely to deal with it, but I'm not even sure that's the case. Okay, so Mox Diamond decision time here. Probably just Godless Shrine, to be honest. This is untapped. No. Can't be that, because I need untapped. Okay, so what's more important, the creature or the selection? I'm actually going to go for the selection being most important. The reason why I'm doing this is I cast Demonic Tutor now. Then next turn I can develop my tap land. The turn after that, I do need an untapped land to develop the Sneak Attack. So that's why I couldn't keep 2 tap lands. Once again, very important detail, because I want to maximize my draws where I don't draw more lands here. Let's say I draw like 2 spells. That's great, right? But then if I delay my sneak attack, maybe that's gonna cost me. Let's see here. I'm kind of hoping this game is like my opponent tries to do something, but what I do is better. If my opponent just, have a simple mana leak, I'm just losing the game, or I'm in a very bad spot anyway. So it's pretty interesting. Even just something that kills the Mox Diamond would be very annoying. The opponent did show white cards game 1, so it is possible. Let's see what the opponent decides to do here. I might have to pause the video. Let's just give it a big pause here, and I'll be back. Okay, so the opponent's back here with Johnny. Johnny's fine. Courtyard. So now I go tap land. Here's a Traxa. I mean, are we all in here? I think we are. I think we are. Okay. Keep the Atraxa. And then I have the dynamic duo of Gristlebrain Atraxa a couple of turns from now, so let's see if anything bad happens in the meantime. Plenty of white cards can deal with this situation. Mana Tithe, Reprieve, any disenchant effect. Okay, so my opponent's super aggressive. I didn't really know that, to be honest. 16. 16 is a healthy life total on paper, but let's see. Let's see how much damage I take here. So maybe this is going to be a game where realizing when to play defensively with sneak attack is going to come into play. I'm going to look at my deck list quickly here. Okay, so made a new screenshot in the meantime, so I guess I didn't get much help. Let's see, I think I call it BR Rack. Okay, perfect. So let's have a look at this. If we find something like, so let's say Atraxa and Gristlebrain, that's 14 in the air. So I need to find 5 more damage, right? Something like Archfiend, something like Bone Horde, some combination of Leyline stuff. I also have, the Ghostfire Slice. Ooh, let's see. Opponent's at 18. Here's Walking Ballista. So I didn't do the math here. I'm just going to wait and see if I get a turn. That would be awesome if I get a turn. Opponent's up to 2 energy, so no flying shenanigans. I don't know if I'm dying here. I don't think so. I'm at 4. So, and the opponent goes up to 20. That's actually important. This is another puzzle. This is not going to be easy. How big is the Bone Horde? I believe it's a 5/5. 7, 7, and 5 is 19. Oh, the opponent could have flipped Cat Warrior here, actually. So if I attack with both of those guys, I gain 14 life, and I draw a gazillion cards. Maybe I'm supposed to Atraxa first, because... Maybe am I supposed to Atraxa on the upkeep because I play Vampiric Tutor? So maybe an end game here is to Atraxa into Toxic Deluge, do that for 4 after attacking, and I'm kind of in the clear. Yeah, I think that's... I'm looking for Toxic Deluge. But I think I already passed priority here on my upkeep. Let's see what Magic Online says when the opponent is back. This could be... Okay, yeah, I did. Not ideal. Let's go look for Toxic Deluge. I think if I find that card, this game could be kind of trivial. But let's see. Atraxa trigger The opponent with 2 cards, they can only have Solitude Pitch, which would be incredibly annoying. I guess then I gain 7 life to go look with Gristlebrand, so maybe it's not the end of the world. Wow, this game could be one for the ages. Or this turn, rather. But Traxa looking for... I think like a combination of spot removal is bad. The thing is I don't have acceleration. So basically we'll have 4 mana this turn. 1 more for sneaky stuff. So there is a... Okay, so I'm actually looking at 10 cards here and then 7 more cards. So I'm like 2/3 to find the Toxic straight away. What if I can only Toxic for 2? Then this guy stays in play. There's the Toxic. I guess I'm a champ. Alright. Toxic Deluge, incredible. That's my sorcery. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, that's my enchantment. I can take Path to Exile. I can take Swamp. And I can even take an Archfiend. That's sick. That's so sick. You gain life? Yeah, so now... Yeah, this is going to be filthy. Now I can Toxic Deluge for 2. That leaves my opponent with only Adeline. And then the Archfiend takes care of that one. So, let's see. Swamp. Toxic for 2 puts me at 2 life. Clears my opponent's board. It puts me to 1 from Walking Ballista. You gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures sacrificed this way. Okay, I think that's my play. Let's see if I missed anything. Toxic Deluge for 2. My opponent can flip the Ajani in response. It's annoying. But I gain a bunch of life back, so that's probably going to be fine. Toxic for Dos. Okay, my opponent does that. Sneak attack. Your opponent sacrifices that card. I go up to 6 here. I didn't even know if this was correct. I don't know. Let's see. Atraxa's dead. Should I have Gristlebranded my opponent there? I'm not sure. I think it's good to just get that out of there. The One Ring. Okay, that's sick. We're both at 6 life. On Earth, does nothing right now. Maybe I Surveil. Reanimate. Problem with Reanimate is a lot of life. Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to do that. Then I can go Fable. I have Path, so I don't die to a random haste creature. I can end step Bristlebrand from Sneak Attack. My opponent will draw a bunch of cards now. So cards, we saw Parallax Wave game 1. Parallax Wave is a card that would be annoying to face. I'm trying to think how my opponent gets out of this. Let's see. I'm actually well on my way to Hardcast Gristlebrand. Okay, here's Parallax Wave. That's funny. So Parallax Wave resolves. My opponent still has a One Ring. Here's Haywire Might. That's also fine. I'll get my selection in here with Fable. I'll probably cycle... Yeah, you got it. I'll cycle the Unearth. End of turn here. Use my mana. So, funnily enough, the Ghostfire Slice is still, you know, my lethal card in the deck. If I put in Gristlebrand, it doesn't do anything. I just force the issue on their Lax, so I'm not going to do that. I'll cycle, and then I'll hang on to the Gristlebrand, but I'm not going to, sneak attack it into play. So cycle on Earth. Mountain is just a card that I'm discarding to Fable, so that's fine. There's Faithless Looting, so yeah. Land. Lalia and Preacher. So these are two more cards that they just, get removed by Parallax Wave, so they don't hold as much value. I think I want to hold up this path for like some hasty stuff. But I also think I should Faithless Looting in order to find the Lethal Burn. And there's the Slice. Okay, that's super sick. So Entomb is bad. And I guess I'll discard the Preacher. So 1, 2, 3. Ghostfire Slice, the face. And there we have it. Ghostfire Slice coming up clutch here as a finisher. Get hit by fatties, get finished by Slice. That's pretty cool. And what do you know? We're on to the finals. This was a pretty sweet game. So much small stuff here around knowing your deck, remembering your deck, looking up what your deck is, like kind of know your chances of connecting with certain stuff, knowing where you're going, and not just we're trying to play chess here and look some steps into the future. And yeah, pretty smooth sailing so far, and great entertainment. So I'm not going to complain. Let's see if we can take down the finals as well. All right, everyone, it's finals time here in this single elimination Vintage Cube 8-player. So now we don't have to worry about, losing and going out. This is just the last match period. So what do we have here? We have a hand that if I draw land, so funnily enough, I said Gemstone Mine point last time. This time, Gemstone Mine would have been way better because then I could discard the Unearth and, move about my business with turn 3 Atraxa. But if I draw any land, this hand is going to produce an Atraxa, so that's fine, right? Or, well, that's either great or bad, right? So we take the average of that. Imperial Seal, okay. Scared. Land is a good draw. I like it. So now I can go tap land, pass. Next turn. I mean, I could get discarded, but I think I'm fine, actually. I'm fine if I get discarded. I don't mind losing the diamond. Actually, I didn't do the math here. Let's say I get him to Torek, whatever. If I'm actually better off. Ooh, Emperor. That's a crazy good card right now. So my opponent surely didn't tutor for that, but that card is crushing me here. The question is if that changes my play. It probably doesn't. So now I go Mox Diamond, discard Mountain, Caracas, play Fable. Because my opponent doesn't know I'm trying to be a dirty boy here with reanimation. So if my opponent taps out, I can still go for it. If they don't, then I can kind of have to slow my plans a little bit here. If my opponent just passes here with 2 mana, there is something up. Then they took a trip to the future, watched this YouTube video. Okay, I see. So they're trying to do a lot of damage here, which is good. No, they're not. Interesting. Wait. Maybe I don't know this card. You pay 2 mana. Okay, so my opponent can't deal with Atraxa right now. Perfect. I think I confused this card with something else. So here I'm gonna discard Atraxa and I don't know. Maybe Mountain? Draw a couple of cards. So now I think I play land first. Getting ready to bounce the Atraxa. Is that good? Let's cast Corpse Dance. trigger. And let's have a look at these cards. So what did my opponent tutor for? Really curious about that. Path looks good. So does Vampiric Tutor. So I guess I go like that. Swamp is probably fine. So I have Path, Sneak Attack, Land. Which sorcery am I taking? Could be Reanimate. And then I take Archfiend. Okay. So drawing 5 sweet cards here. Attacking with the Traxa and then bouncing it back to my hand in order to discard it to clean up. I take that. I'm just assuming my opponent doesn't have a removal spell. Then it would have been fired off already. So basically what I can do here is attack with both. I actually think I should attack with both here. I get a treasure. I let my opponent block. They don't want to block, so they take 9. I was about to say I can use Path to Exile in a cool way here. It's really unsure if I'm supposed to hold up Path or not. I think I'm going to hold up Path and see what happens. Now I'm going to bounce Atraxa. I'm trying to figure out if I'm getting like through the breach or something. My opponent's at 8 life. This looks like my position is so commanding that I can let this Atraxa go and try and win, you know, without it. I really don't want to get, you know, I don't know, Mox, land through the breach, Ulamog. I guess Ulamog I have Path for. Okay, I think that... And Emrakul's gone because I already played against Emrakul. Okay. Let's try and bounce. The opponent goes that one end of turn. I could have Path there, but I think it's fine. So now my opponent's dealing 12 next turn. That is a number. So let's discard Atraxa. Is Archfiend hardcastable this game? Yeah, maybe I just discard a land. That's fine. Okay. So let's see what the opponent has cooking here. Oh, now my opponent's exiling it with Emperor. Yeah, I'm... Okay. So now I have to path the Emperor before. Yeah, I didn't play well this game. I think I had a lot of room for error this game, though. So let's see. My opponent plays that card. So that is a double striker that will make this into a 14 power creature, and this is a 4 power creature. So I'm going to take 18 damage here. If I pass the Emperor, 18 damage. That puts me down to 9. Yeah, I didn't play this well. So let's see. Bashing onto that card. So if I kill that, I lose Atraxa, but I'm taking 8. Maybe that's fine. Okay. So now Atraxa's gone here. What a terrible play. And now I have to kill that card. Okay. Magic the Gathering is a hard game. So now I have to do something like Demonic Tutor. Let's see. Demonic Tutor. I was about to say Bone Shards, but I think I might as well Faithless Looting in that scenario. So I go Demonic Tutor. Faithless Looting. Draw. Discard that. Discard that. Play land. Discard Mountain. Discard Archfiend. Play land. Reanimate the Archfiend. Yeah. No Madness. Land. Reanimate. Still hold up the Caracas. I now have Reflection in play, so my opponent's from my opponent's point of view, the Archfiend is a must kill. Yeah, I didn't play well this game. This is yeah, just shows how new cards are complicated. Like I played with this card or against this card maybe like 10 times, but definitely not an automatic process on the hard drive. So the flaw is if I want to keep the Atraxa, I'm supposed to keep it in hand. Then I'm supposed to play defensively, or I'm supposed to say, when you transform this, well, adapt this, I'm going to path it in response. My opponent wouldn't have, much of any damage going on. Okay, so I played against a red-black mirror, which is kind of funny. I just assume my opponent's more aggressive than I am, and not Reanimator centric. So, but then again, there's the Through the Reach missing. There's the Ulamog missing from the draft. So who knows? What do we have here? A 5-lander with a Slice and an Atraxa. So so if I just, my opponent plays whatever, passes, and I discard Atraxa turn 1. At that point, I have Reanimate, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, as live draws. Anything else kind of punishes me, so I don't think it's worth it. Also, my opponent showed the Emperor, so bad things might happen. Yeah, this is another one of those. It doesn't really do anything, but it could, so I guess we keep it. So I have the Tutors and the Entomb. I go with the Corpse Dance later. Maybe this is just me getting rid of Mox Diamond. Okay. I mean, that's what it... When you have a deck like this, sometimes your hand doesn't do anything on its own, but it could in the future, right? Dark Ritual, Barrowgoyf turn 1. That's a cool one. Turn 1 Barrowgoyf. I draw Demonic Tutor. That is a great draw, I would imagine. Demonic Tutor. Yeah, let's see next turn. What do we need? Caracas. I don't think I want that card. So Barrowgoyf is an annoying card. It's kind of like an engine that draws into more stuff. Let's see if the opponent can do it. Nice. 2 options here. Stitcher Supplier and Paragoyf. Okay. That's great. The opponent is playing the Goyf deck. They take back the Stitcher and they pass. Wow. Does that put me in Toxic Deluge mode? I think that puts me in Toxic Deluge mode. Demonic Tutor, Toxic Deluge. And then it's kind of up to my opponent to do something meaningful here. Barrowgoyf hits no creatures this time, which is good for me. Six card types, so I have to pay 6 life here. It's not ideal. -6 to everything. Stitcher dies. I don't know what kind of synergy my opponent's working with here. There's a Detective's Phoenix. That is something, right? Imperial Seal. So this is probably the most unexciting seal going for a land, or let's say the opponent has a Lotus. I draw land, speaking of. So I guess what I'm supposed to do is try and spike a Atraxa or Grizzlebrain on top of my deck with the help of Surveilling. Put that to the yard. I think I'm thought chasing my opponent pretty clearly here. I'm going to 4. Ooh, nice Emperor. Okay, so my opponent thought these for either Mountain or Black Lotus here, and there's not a lot I can do to stop that, so... Let's see, what is this reanimation? Okay, I think this reanimation is lethal because of Pyrogoyf. Pyrogoyf being a... Okay, 5/6. That puts me to 1. That would be quite bad for me. Okay, so I'm probably losing this game, despite my opponent stopping on 1 land for so many turns. The opponent tutored bad lands. That works. Let's see what the opponent can hit here. All against command. All against command is a good one. So, cycle. So, creature. I believe Archfiend. Can't do anything about that. I believe that's game over. The opponent attacks with that. Gets the trigger. No, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not game over. If they brick on land. I guess I'm saying there's a chance. I die to land now because that would unlock the opponent's the call against command in exile. Yes, I'll play this out. It thins the deck. There's the land. Call against command is lethal. Oh, wow. The opponent did not want to win with the call against command. Oh, they couldn't. I see. Because we both had 3 cards in hand. Okay, well, maybe we live to see another day here. Just maybe we live to see another day here. Okay. I forgot about that card. That for sure works. +2/+2, flying, haste. I guess the opponent should have played it on the other one. Maybe not. Okay. That was a cool one. The opponent was stuck on 1 land for ages, but got there because of, me being a combo deck and doing nothing. That's pretty cool. Like, if you play against any solid deck from the opponent's perspective, they just lose. Like, let's say I'm a random control deck, I can play a Planeswalker. I'm a random mid-range deck, I can play a creature. Then the game's just over, but because of the either this deck does the nuts or does nothing type of vibe, then the opponent got there. That's cool. My opponent has a lot of hasty stuff. Actually, very aggressive deck. My Toxic Deluge is very strong, and maybe the Toxic Deluge makes my opponent play slower, right? Okay, this hand works. So I have turn 1 removal if my opponent has a creature turn 1. Then I play the Bat. Hopefully then I play the Fable, and we play some kind of normal magic. With the upside of me drawing Reanimation at some point. Here's Ritual. Okay, I love this. Ritual Baragoyf. So, let's see. Instant. So I just need to deal 2. That's very good for me. Trading a 1 mana spell for 2 spells. I brick on land. I have 1 more turn to get the land, or could be bad. Okay, lots of bad cards here, aside from the Caustic Bronco, so let's take that. Wow, the opponent's very aggressive with this deck. Pirate Claw. Wow, the opponent... Okay, sick. Nice draw. The opponent found Reanimation. Can I find the land? I can't find the land. So let's attack for 1. Now the opponent's going to grind away and actually enable that Hogak. Mill 2. No creature. Now it's up to a 4. That's bad for me. So let's see. The swamp is gone. The opponent can now play Hired Claw. Here's Grief. Yeah, the opponent kind of knows what's going on here. Grief pitching Hogak, I believe. Yep. Grief pitching Hogak. Opponent takes Fable. Good call. I draw Vamp Tutor. Is that good? Empiric Tutor. What am I supposed to tutor for? Also have to remember my opponent has a Fire Blast in hand. Opponent can now return an Emperor or Oliphant if they want like slow access to mana, which should be good, right? The opponent took back Nethergoyf. Did they just draw Swamp? Okay, they found a Swamp. Sick. Unclear if I can win this game. What happens if I go Empiric Tutor down to 10? We have random land. Like Caracas, I guess. Because that's an untapped white source that helps path in the future. Then I play Preacher, and I trade with the Barrogoyf, taking 7 more damage down to 3. Not really gonna do it, right? Down to 4 if I attack with Deep Cavern. Let's just pull out the deck here. I think I'm kind of drawing dead. One off of Toxic Deluge, obviously. Hmm. Empiric Tutor, Caracas, play Preacher. Empiric Tutor, Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting is a card that lets me dump Gristlebrand and Atrax and get 2 new ones. And then, if they're perfect, I can win the game. Yeah, this is very bad. So it's basically the looting line or the just find the land. If I find the land, I can draw more stuff later, but I'm also just getting aggroed here. Actually, Deluge doesn't do anything because I'm going to be too low on life. I'm not. Yeah. I hardly believe this is a winning line, but I couldn't come up with anything better. Play Preacher. I think. I don't think I'm winning if I'm chum blocking with the bat. I kind of need to pseudo stabilize here. But I also have to remember if I'm pathing my opponent, I'm giving them the second mountain. So maybe that disqualifies this play. Yeah, I think I'm over my head here. So I need to block that, go to 3. I need to block that, go to 2, rather. Pretty sick. Like, any creature is helping my opponent out here. Land, so now I'm just dead because I give my opponent the second mountain. Okay. That was a sweet game. The opponent really like played their chance. They showcased building like a very aggressive red-black deck. And yeah, I couldn't keep up. I didn't produce a combo. I didn't find a Toxic Deluge in time. And the game where I did find Toxic Deluge in time, I couldn't, slam the door with all the time it bought. So yeah, just pretty cool. Pretty cool that we ended up with a red-black pseudo mirror in the finals. That makes a lot of sense why I couldn't get my hands on more of the, the Barrogoyfs, the Griefs, the Nethergoyfs, like the mid-range cards of black. And yeah, I highly enjoy playing Cube. I really got challenged this one. Even the first 2 rounds, threading the needle on those kills, it was so tough to come up with the lines. But yeah, I'm happy I made it all the way to the finals. That made it for a 3-match video, and we do enjoy those the most. All right, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.